Hi, Alex. Just going to put the agenda into the chat.
Hello.
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 Hi, everyone. Just looking for the actions. Maybe you have them, Bosco.
Just give me a second. I'm trying to figure out something in the background with you on the budget. Lawrence.
Yeah, found them.
Okay. Agendas. Yes. Do you want me to go or wait for a bit more?
Wait a minute or two more. So we have a number of apologies. So we have apologies from Sebastian. We have apologies from Neil.
Okay, so that's 2, and you have 6 right now, 6 members. So that's it.
2,
I
3,
think.
4, 5, 6. Duncan.
Yeah, Duncan is.
Right. Ryan is here only in chat. Are you able to listen to us? Okay, great.
On a plane.
If you have anything to say, Ryan, please include it in the chat. I'd included a couple of items for you in the agenda, but we can postpone them until next time if you're not available to speak to them. Or Bosco and I can hopefully summarize the hard fork status.
We can, I think, based on what we know so far.
Thanks, Tex. Great. Does anyone have any items they would like to add to the agenda? Or any they would like to prioritize? Okay. Okay, so we've given people a chance to join a bit late. Welcome to the Technical Steering Committee meeting of the 18th of March 2026. We have 6 Technical Steering Committee members present. 2 have sent their apologies, so we are quorate if there are any decisions to be taken. So why don't we kick off the meeting as usual with a summary of the action items?
Sure. Action items from the last call was on you and Neil, Kevin, to think up after the meeting last week to finalize the formal statement on Constitution 10.2.4 technical concerns.
Constitution 10.2, that's a new one.
No, 10.4. Come on, like I'm still in the Node version 10 point whatever it is.
We're expecting Constitution version 11, Bosco. So I met up with Neil. We had a discussion. Neil was going to summarize that. I haven't seen the summary yet, but it seemed to be fairly straightforward. So we're just waiting for Neil to provide us with the summary, Bosco, and then we can proceed.
Okay, so we can keep this one on the list, or we don't have to. Okay, the second one on the list was for me to coordinate a doodle poll to schedule technical deep dive of linear layers risk management, but I didn't do anything there yet, really. So yeah. I did have other priorities, so I didn't consider that one as the highest one to be addressed at this moment.
We'll need to try to do it reasonably soon because we'll be getting into Easter, Bosco. One of the things we might want to consider is whether there's any instruction to this meeting schedule around Easter, but that's bound to have an impact on who can attend a meeting.
Can you tell me once again, as I want to get back in time well enough, so who needs to attend that call? So we are coordinating a doodle pool to find the time slot, the reasonable time slot, but for what's the group of people that should attend that?
Open it up to anyone from the Technical Steering Committee who is interested. Sebastian needs to be able to attend it, but otherwise...
Sure. But the invitation goes out to whom? To anybody from the community, or it's for the dedicated group of people?
I would probably keep it to the Technical Steering Committee initially, because we might touch on some issues that could be problematic.
Okay. I just wanted to understand the impact.
Yeah, I would probably keep it private rather than exposing it to the public at this stage.
Sure, then it's all clear.
I'm not expecting any major issues to crop up, but it's quite possible that we're discussing security concerns, and it's possible perhaps that some issues get raised. So we would want to do that privately rather than publicly.
I agree. Understood. We'll handle it and we'll have Easter holidays in mind. Next one. For you to request historical benchmarking results from the performance team regarding DREP scaling, 10K plus DREPs for the...
My memory is that I did that and passed that on to you, Alex, in the parameter
committee.
So we certainly have seen that information.
What are we looking for?
The DREP scaling. We'll check and make sure that gets either ticked off or carried out.
Okay. The next
by the way, we did get a presentation from
Michael.
Michael,
I believe.
Yes. Who told us about how he benchmarks the primitives.
I know that presentation was by Kenneth, Alex. So that was on the benchmarking. But Michael, I believe, passed on the benchmarking information for the large number of DREPs. Let's double check this after the call. This impacted the issue that Mike Hornham raised about reducing the DREP deposit. So we wanted scalability information to confirm that the system was capable of handling large numbers of DREPs with large volumes of governance requests.
Okay, can I move on?
So the next action item, Bosco, was Leandros to update the KPI document.
Yeah, I just asked whether I can continue. That's it.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, for Leandros to update KPI document with integrated feedback from the committee, by this week, basically. So what
Yeah, I
happened?
didn't have too much feedback. If I remember well, I said I was going to do some calculations on the revenue based on our targets for sustainability of the SPOs. Haven't had a chance to do that, but that's pretty minor.
Okay, great. What's the next step then there?
We have the call today with the committee, the product committee, and if they are positive on our recommendations, I think that we can just polish it off and give it to them.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've had a good discussion with them, and we've pretty well reached a fixed point. Leandros, correct?
Perfect. The next one was on text to forward the guide on how to drain intersect Discord to the TSC channel, TSC channel for dissemination. So I don't remember that seeing on Slack, or you did share it, Tex. If you're here, Tex, 1, 2, 3. You're on mute if you're saying. Okay, we can touch that topic a bit later. For me and Tex was to finalize potential time slots for the TSC, XSpace, and Virtual Hub election-related events. So I'm still trying to pick up the time slots, as there is some ambiguity on the time slots themselves. The dates are pretty much known, but before sharing anything with you, I need to have time slots, available time slots, and I'm actually expecting to get them during this call. So by the time we come to that item on the agenda, I might as well have that information. So that concludes the list of the action items.
Yes, and just to add, I attended the Virtual Hub yesterday. There were a few people there, mostly committee members, but some members of the community as well.
Yes, so there needs to be, during the election phase, there needs to be at least one XSpace and one Virtual Hub event by TSC. That's the expectation. So
we can come back to that. I think I've included an item to discuss the elections.
Yeah, exactly. So by the time it's on the agenda, I will probably get the information that I need. So that concludes the list of action items.
Great.
And hopefully we have the right order of the agenda items in this tool that you listed. So if something is slightly off, Kevin, let me know. I don't expect it, but so okay, you tell. You can start, I assume. So
yes.
TSC budget. Yep.
Yeah. So work on the TSC budget proposal is progressing. As you know, the budget committee gave us a template to complete last week, I think it was, and we've been given something like 9 days to complete it. Another 2 to do that. So it's quite a tight schedule. I've become friends with AI over the last few days and filled in the template based on the document we'd previously produced and the information that's available in the template itself. And that includes creating milestones, deliverables, etc. So what we need to do is we need to look at that. We need we need to confirm that we're happy with the content that's going to the ISC for discussion on Monday, I believe, Bosco. So we will be able to have a joint session where we're discussing all of the budgets. The items that I think might need to be most discussed are firstly the software requirement. This is originally something which came from Intersect 2, as we were aware that not every committee member has access to Slack, professional Slack, for example, and that then becomes an impediment to their participation in the committees. Now, we either need to include this in the committee budget, or we need to get Intersect to commit to provisioning that for us. It's probably not a large amount of money, but it has to be included somewhere in the budget. Second thing that, and I'll just share the link again in the chat for the committee members. Second thing that I think might be an issue is we originally, again, based on feedback from Intersect last year, we proposed to have quarterly in-person meetings, and we obviously need to budget something to attend those, trying to keep it to a reasonable amount of money, and budget for those who don't have other sources. So the question is whether to accept aim for 4 meetings per year, which is going to be quite a lot of budget, perhaps, if we're assuming 10 members and you assume that each only costs $1,000 per meeting. That's something like $40,000 for 10 members across the year, or whether we trim that down to, say, 2 meetings. And obviously what we're going to do is to run these in association with events such as the Cardano Summit. So I'll let people comment on that. My inclination is to reduce the number because I don't want us to be traveling around the world for its own sake. But I think we do need presence at some of the major events.
Yeah, just quickly commenting here. Hi, Kevin.
How do you do?
I think meeting in person is nothing, and no substitute really, so it's required and very good. Yeah, 4 looks quite a lot. Particularly, we all kind of distributed in different locations, different continent possibly. And however, the budget 40,000 doesn't look that high to me, but it's just that 4 meetings, everybody coming together looks a lot. And I think one, as you said, I think we can take opportunity, Cardano Summit, wherever it's happening, we all travel there, and plus maybe 2 more, even twice more. So, I would have said 2, but somewhere between 2 and 4, possibly 3 could be good. I don't see the need to reduce the budget because that $40,000 I think is not too high or not low either. And because the indication mentioned about per person $1,000, depending on where you have the meeting, the travel cost can go pretty quickly, from 1,000 to 4,000 for a person or 3,000, right? So it depends really where you be meeting, as well as how many people traveling, kind of thing. So that's my feedback.
Yes, it's very hard to figure out an exact cost without knowing who exactly is traveling, what location is you. So $1,000 seemed like a reasonable placeholder, but what I'd expect is that some members, so if there was a meeting in Europe, for example, and you had to attend, then the cost there would be much higher than if I or Alex or most of the others had to attend that meeting for you individually. And there's also a question about whether our companies, organizations would be able to pay for the trip anyway. I wouldn't expect this to be paying for something where people are already well funded. I think we need a principle of fairness to the community there.
May I say that I've shared also the guidance from Intersect committee budgets. So to point out that any budget proposal needs to be in line with the guidance, and we might have some things to improve there in the current draft, so to say. So I'm not sure, to be honest, I'm not sure it's still worth discussing with execs or with the board how these travel costs are going to be covered and whether they provide direct value to the community or indirect value. So I'm not sure how was that any TSC members in the past year, how did they have their costs for travel covered? Who covered them? Was it Intersect? Was it some TSC budget? What was the case?
The only travel costs I'm aware of have been covered either by companies or by personal payment. Bosco. So this is raising an issue, and that's meant that we've not been present as a group at certain important events. So there's missing function there. I'm happy to remove it from, if Intersect will cover it from central budget, then I think it could be removed. But this function needs to be considered by Intersect. It needs to be supported from some budget.
For transparency reasons, I've scheduled a meeting with you and Lorenzo. So just to be able to clarify some points more quickly than just going back and forth. But yeah, I agree with you that if something is necessary, and then it needs to be covered somewhere, whether it's TSC budget or Intersect central budget, it doesn't matter. But if something is confirmed necessary, I'm not judging, I'm just stating, then it needs to be explicitly covered somewhere. Okay, that's from
Great.
My point of view.
Yeah. So other items that were coming out at me were the technical workshops. What we're proposing there is to organise a series of technical workshops. We've suggested 10, and this would just pay for limited organisation, room hire, travel costs. It's not intended to pay for everyone to travel to the workshop, as has happened with some other events. So it's just the basic organisation, set things up, and then let people travel to it. So we had mentioned a number of possibilities. Based on feedback, I beefed that up to 15 possible topics. Be useful to get input on those topics, whether they're sensible ones, and also input on whether 10 workshops is a reasonable number, whether it's too many. So I was thinking, 10 workshops is quite a lot to organise, but there's a lot of need in the community for these kind of technical sessions, I think. What do people think?
So all these workshops, you mean to say, will be in person?
That's the idea, Udo. They could also be hybrid, but hybrid workshops usually don't work as well. If you can attend a workshop in person, it's usually better. So examples we'd picked on included the Node Diversity workshop. Now, I know that Amaru has now proposed to fund those. It's putting in a charge of $35,000 per workshop, but they're trying to fund all of the travel cost for the attendees, as well as the organization costs. And we had discussions about transforming the UPLC workshop into a community-driven one, but we need to pick that up with the UPLC team. And then there are a number of other topics that I'd highlighted if you look at the proposal. So these, I'm getting lost in the document.
The document is enormous.
Yes, that's the problem with the template. Which other possibilities could include layer 2 solutions, partner chains, scalability and throughput, which would include Ouroboros, Laos, but also other techniques. Finality issues, which include, of course, Ouroboros Paris, but maybe other Ouroboros Phalanx and other issues. Post-quantum cryptographic resilience, incentives, governance improvements, security and instant response, Mithril, Dijkstra era content, network layer improvements, which could include things like P2P, mempool, topology, Ouroboros, Genesis, etc. Node performance and network resilience, parameter guardrails, etc. So there are a lot of possible topics to cover. It might be possible to have 1 or 2 workshops that combine more than one topic into a single event. Nicholas.
I mean, it's I like the set of topics, and I think it's probably topics that are probably something that the whole community will have, well, at least the technical community will have interest in. I'm just afraid that trying to have this on person will limit the attendance. As you said, hybrid is terrible for this kind of stuff. So I would suggest to actually try to have this agenda as just remote workshop rather than in-person workshop. It will reduce the cost. It will allow more attendance. Yeah, I only see benefits. Yeah, obviously it's harder to sync up with people remotely than in person. The thing is, it's so complex, and it would be so expensive to have a lot of contributors coming in person that I would highly suggest to move it to just remote event.
Yeah, there's still a coordination cost, but you avoid a certain amount of the organization, room booking, etc., which is beneficial.
No.
What do others think?
Just to add, if I may, it's not only about the cost; it's also about people being able to attend and participate. You will highly restrict. For example, if I take my personal example, I'm happy to attend 10 events remotely. I will certainly not do 10 travel to attend stuff in person.
Yeah, so I wouldn't expect anyone to attend that number of workshops in person. That would be too many for any of us, I suspect, Nicholas.
Yeah, but then you have the problem of cherry picking your topic, which is why I would prefer remote stuff.
Or maybe some in-person workshops and some remote ones. What do others think?
Yeah, I think I do agree with Nicholas, and it is a challenge, and we have responsibility to disseminate this information not to 10, 20 people, like hundreds of people. And I think the one part it can be achieved is that properly recorded, the session can be put on video on YouTube or something like that. That can possibly compensate, partly there. So I think, yeah, to do that, maybe we can go hybrid, the few online, few offline, which is properly recorded and uploaded as a video. So that combination can work.
Okay, and Ryan is saying bulk things together as much as possible, which is indeed better for travel. So having workshops co-located with a larger event, or organizing them within something like the Cardano Summit, is a good way to avoid overload.
Agree. I was also thinking, agreed to that as well. It's just that maybe we don't have enough attendees in those events, so still probably the remote aspect should be there. But yeah, physical one, possibly more club together with bigger event would be good.
Great. So one of the things I do have to sort out is the cost of meeting organizers and technical communications staff, but I'll take that up with Intersect. I need to make sure that the numbers that put in the proposal are sensible ones. We're not recovering enough of the cost, but we're not asking for too much there. And then the other work packages, there's some feedback from Lorenzo to take into account on those. I incorporated your feedback on the technical review, Nicholas, about the cost of the technical review. Then there needs to be enough. We need to make sure we've accounted for the administrative costs of doing all the things we're promising to do within that. So there's still some refinement to be done there, I think. And it may be that Intersect decides to take on the technical review function, the cost of the technical review function itself, but we'll see how that works out. The budget that we're putting in overall comes to something like $500,000, which is a reasonable sum of money. So it's not a trivial sum of money that we're asking for. And as I was saying at the start, we need to make sure that whatever we ask for does get administered properly. What I anticipate is the budget that we ask for is more than we would need. We're having to be somewhat conservative in estimating the costs here. So I would expect us to be returning at least some of this budget to the community, depending on the demand that we had. It's hard to estimate exactly how many community members do need funding without knowing who they are, what their circumstances are. Tex.
I recognize the body of the committee is subject to change, but I'm just curious I guess it's a risk being to raise here. Does everyone understand kind of what's involved when a budget is awarded as far as like extra time commitment? I'll tell you, I mean, you might think that, hey, it's easy to do because Texas is here and everywhere, but there's a lot of additional hours that I put in, as well as additional hours the committee members put in to make this happen. So I just want to make sure that you're aware, once you put something out there, it might seem like it's something easy to do. It might even seem like it's something you're doing now. But once that is confuddled or befuddled with everything that has to be done for Intersect, just understand that that's something that's going to put a lot on the secretary, and the secretary is going to come back and equally ask that much more of each of you. So I just don't know if that's been considered or discussed yet.
It's absolutely a consideration, Tex, but if we need to carry out particular functions, then we need to put the time in to make sure they're done properly. So if we have the budget, you're right, you have to administer it. Hopefully, we can find mechanisms to administer the budget efficiently. So we shouldn't be asking for things we're not willing to commit to, of course. Absolutely. And we should absolutely make sure that we are including the cost of running each of these budget items. Eli, you had your hand raised.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the thought, I guess, might have been discussed already, is about doing some more technical analysis or technical study, even from the existing our tech stack, we possibly time to time review, and maybe the different mechanism is there like hard fork, but also externally looking forward for the best practices and new stuffs coming. So are we keeping any provision to do the study on those kind of the topics, or not required? It's just that thought came in my mind.
Yeah, it's a good point. So we have included some budget to commission studies specifically for the parameter committee benchmarking and similar studies. And that was where we saw the immediate need. I mean, I agree with you that there might well be technical studies that we could find we need to commission, but it's hard to predict exactly what they might be, Udani. I think we would find those out probably from the workshops that we run.
Mhm. Yeah, I go back to some of my initial feedback where what was my imagination about technical steering committee versus what we're doing, I think slightly different. And I think with respect to the budget, I would expect that technical steering committee will really manage the budget, which of the whole of the tech stack and other things that are being developed, right? So we don't need to develop ourselves, or we don't need to directly, but they kind of having the roadmap, they kind of deciding and making the decision and things like that. So unfortunately, I don't think we are doing that kind of the work, or we kind of factoring those things in our budget proposal, because most budget proposals are doing about workshops or travel, which are very common kind of the topic and required as well. But like these workshop things, mostly we are also doing in open source committee, or we developer advocate, we train them, 4 of them, and they support, and one of us go and present together with them, and developer experience service. So those things can be done possibly in other areas as well, like open source committee. But I think technical steering committee, we need to go in the technical aspects of detail, whether from best practices to defining what we want to develop at the core as a next, not only for next 1 year, next 5 years, what is the plan or path and other things, right? So I don't see that we are able to kind of, maybe what I understood, that we are not given that remit, so the role of the technical steering committee is limited, number one, and I guess because of that, we are not able to think of those aspects more. So sorry, it's more generic point, but I mean, I'm just, or you can correct me if I'm understanding it wrong.
So I think to answer your point, I think we are constrained in terms of what we are allowed to do by Intersect. Obviously, the role can evolve. If you have concrete suggestions for reports that we would need to commission, that would be useful, Uday. So saying that there are technical reports that need to be commissioned to allow work to be progressed towards the achievement of the 2030 vision, for example, technical reports, that's something which we could include as part of this proposal. So we're happy to do that. I think it's got a community-facing function. It's valuable for the community as a whole for us to be doing that. And obviously there may be then some overlap with things that other people are commissioning. So we just need to make sure we don't double commission the work. What do others think? Should we be commissioning more reports, future-looking reports, reports on technical issues?
Yeah, so I will provide my feedback on the proposal, and I won't only call report, but yeah, report was one idea, but I will give the overall feedback from my side, and yeah, I think I agree to you with we need to work on constraint. So I will provide the feedback by this weekend.
Great, thank you very much, Uday. So, as I said, the proposal is going for discussion with the Intersect Steering Committee, with other committees on Monday. So, any feedback that you have is best received before Monday. We can make adjustments prior to that. This won't be absolutely final because we'll be able to revise what we've proposed so far once we've had that committee feedback. But the deadline is going to be pretty soon, I think, Bosco, to have a complete proposal. Do we have an exact deadline yet or not?
I think it's within a few days from now, because first round of board feedback, sorry, would be next week. I think so, as soon as possible. But I don't know how ready other proposals are. So given that context, I would say let's aim for as quick as possible. But I don't have the exact date other than what we shared. So I was aiming to have it by the end of this week. Is it possible?
I don't think we won't have a final version of the proposal because we need to take into account feedback and we need to revise the proposal.
But generally speaking, the final version is approved by the board and everything else by the end of the month.
End of the month.
Yeah.
Okay. So we do have some.
That includes board feedback as well. So not only our work, but includes theirs. So back and forth a bit.
Right. Okay. So we need to continue to iterate on this.
Yes.
What the things identified when I put this through the process was we didn't have a clear set of Intersect alignment with the 2030 vision. So it's hard for this committee to say, how do we align with what Intersect is doing if Intersect doesn't tell us what its own alignment is? So I've raised that via Bosco with the executive and with Intersect staff members, waiting for a concrete response. There may be maybe some iterative approach where some of the things we're describing get picked up as part of the fulfillment of the Intersect 2030 vision. And then we incorporate that in our own alignment. But we do need to know, how does Intersect think it aligns with the 2030 vision? Great.
Was there any response from Intersect on that in the document or not yet?
I haven't had the time to check yet, Bosco. Okay. So I think there was an outline that Lorenzo gave us, but it was very, very thin. It was basically two or three very short sentences.
That's what I saw from their from Intersect proposal, but I think it needs to be clarified more, and as it affects not only TSE but all other committees as well.
Absolutely. So unless we know how Intersect thinks it's aligning, then it's difficult for us to say that we are aligned with that.
Two consecutive assumption is never the good thing, so it cannot be assumed. It needs to be precise. So I agree. Okay.
I'm inferring that Intersect as a whole was not aware of the template either.
I cannot judge on that. Really, I don't know the answer. I would be honest with you, but I don't know the answer. Okay, we have 20 more minutes, so let's be mindful of time.
Let's proceed. So feedback on that, please. We'll come back to it next week. I'll provide any feedback that I get from the ISC or from other parties. We just need to keep iterating. Appreciate it's quite long, but that's what happens when you have a template that isn't really designed for committees.
I already saw Nicholas commenting on something, so that's also good. So as much of you as possible that can read through it and comment. Even though it feels long, it's not so hard to digest. It just takes some time, but it's pretty much obvious and everything we discussed or you discussed.
Great. Okay, so let's move on. Hartfork status. So I was there, you were there, Bosco.
Yeah.
I think the summary is things are progressing. We're still waiting for node version 10.7.0.
Discuss, yeah, exactly. So once again, to clarify for the ones that are here and weren't here yesterday, maybe you die. I don't know whether you were on the hard fork working group call. You weren't. Essentially, the update is this. So IO is saying that we are still expecting, it's likely that the 10.7.0 pre-release would be available by the end of this week. And this can only be used for testing of the features, not actually to fork the preview testnet, as we need full version, so version 11 for that. And before that can happen, there might be some other small version bumps, right? And based on the things discovered or not, yeah, developers are bring us. And given the current sequence of events and the timeline and the needs and the things that needs to happen along the way for the actual hard fork, so at the moment, as a tentative really forecasted date, so just based on what we know today, it would be beginning of June. As it needs time to sit well enough on preview, then on pre-prod, and then of course governance action to be submitted. Just trying to keep up with the comments. Yeah, no CLI and API, but even if it's a single component, it's already Wednesday. We still don't. I'm just being realistic. It's Wednesday afternoon, at least for me, and there is still 2 more days, right, by the end of this week. So if I don't expect it to happen on Friday afternoon or something, so even if it does happen by the end of this week, before the full release is ready for the preview, right, it will take more than a week before pre-release and a release. So I'm just being realistic. So I don't know how.
I'm just finding information from the developer team.
Yeah. They are being cautious. Okay. So ultimately, it's not something we can directly influence through DSC or something. It's the way the big piece of work will happen after this thing is, after the node is pre-released and then released. Of course, as you pointed out as well, Kevin, DB-Sync is to follow within 2 weeks or something like that from the node being pre-released, right? Or something like that. DB-Sync compatible version.
Yes.
Okay.
That's not likely to take much time once the node is released.
Okay. Released or pre-release?
Pre-released.
Okay. So essentially, and just 1 point clarification point. So once the 10.7.0 has a full release, then it may be followed by small version bumps, right? But that usually, or based on what is discovered or not, it doesn't always mean that the whole process is resetting. So once a full release of 10.7.0 goes to preview, and there is, for example, 10.7.1 or 0.2, it doesn't need to go from the beginning on preview, like again 2 weeks on preview, or it does.
It's going to depend on the changes, Bosco. So
Okay.
if there are minor changes, then you wouldn't expect there to be. You would only need to test the things that have changed.
Okay. If it's significant, then the whole thing resets. Okay.
Yeah, and obviously each version internally within the developer team goes through a full testing cycle. But what you expect is for there to be some limitations and issues that are fixed. You then get a new version. Maybe there are performance improvements, but the functionality may be completely identical to the previous version. So we definitely make progress. It's not a case of you go back to the beginning and you start again with each iterative bump.
Because that would mean like we will have hard fork in July or something. So probably. I'm just again being realistic, so I don't want to lie to myself nor anybody else. Okay, glad that we are okay with that, and we are going to improve things on the readiness tracking, so to have better, detailed, or more granular view on the at the components level and what's ready, what's not, whether we have some issues there or what. There's going to be a meeting tomorrow between, I will be there with some IO people, Ramsey and Georgi and Leonard, just to make sure that we understand each other. We don't need everybody there. And we're going to meet with IO as well on some other aspects, so to try to streamline these things to have them better and flow, to have them flow better as well. We are also going to raise and to continue maintaining the risk register based on the experience in Chang and Plomin. So I'm looking into that to have it ready for the next hard fork working group meeting. But that's, I suppose that's enough for this meeting as an update, so we don't hijack the whole thing.
Absolutely, and as soon as we have information, Bosco, I suggest we share it with this group. We can cover it. We can cover the readiness tracking, for example, in this meeting as a summary.
Yeah, as an yeah. Once
Okay.
it's a good idea.
Let's move ahead onto the other items. I propose we skip the next two items because Ryan isn't here to speak to them. These are items for Ryan, and he's traveling.
Okay, vision KPIs. We have a follow-up. I think that's
We covered that, I think, sufficiently with Leanne at the start of the meeting. Next two items are essentially for information. One is a clarification, useful clarification by the US SEC on the position of Cardano and other currencies as digital commodities. So ADA is explicitly classified as a digital commodity and not as a security. So that's very helpful for the community and for the ecosystem. Second item to mention is Bidlerfest. Not sure how you pronounce that. 2026. That will happen next week in Argentina. I think it's a purely in-person event. I know a number of people will be going there. I just wanted to promote it. There'll also be a node diversity workshop happening around the same time, so be aware of that. There'll be hopefully some interesting reports coming out of those meetings.
Does anybody from the committee besides Sebastian is traveling there? I assume Sebastian's right.
So we can ask Sebastian for a report, probably not next week, but when he returns. Oscar,
You can ask me as well.
you're going to be there?
Yeah, it's Ryan, but for a few days. Okay.
Great.
So we can cover it. I don't know. I'm actually trying to figure out what books I'm going to read for the long haul flight. It's kind of what gets me bored, to be honest. Okay.
Pay for the Wi-Fi upgrade. It's worth it. Right.
Really? Okay. Good point. Discussion of receiving size.
Yeah. So I see Ken Eric is here. So Ken Eric has kindly invited me to attend the meeting tomorrow at 1300 with the Civics Committee. Alex, you may want to come to that discussion as well. And my understanding, Ken Eric, is that we will be discussing the CC min size reduction from 7 to 5. I'm taking that as a yes from Ken Eric.
Yeah, that's true. You got a spot.
So the Parameter Committee produced a document with a recommendation, and we will go through that and we will answer any questions that you may have about the reduction, Ken Eric.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Really.
Great.
Small hijack from the hard fork working group. Ken Eric, we need to chase you on the metadata that you suggested for the Van Rosen hard fork. And you promised to give us something, and we can get in touch actually on that one.
This was for the-
reach out to me. You can reach out to me any means you like, Vasco.
Okay, good. I would skip committee election for as I'm still clarifying. So maybe committee rewards first.
Okay. Well, committee rewards is just an information item. It's just to inform the committee members that if they're eligible for awards, they can claim them via the members page. I observed that was available last week. So please, if you want to claim your awards, you can do so. Please do that via the member pages on Intersect, and you will be asked to provide a short summary of the activities you've carried out for this committee to be able to claim the rewards. Right, committee elections. I think we
Tex.
Yeah. So with the committee elections, there is the request for each committee to attend an X space and to have attendance in the virtual hub. In terms of availability of the hosts being myself, Laura, and Larissa, there was an agreement yesterday to essentially sponsor blocks of time over the 3 weeks that is the application period. So that is Tuesdays at 3:30 UTC. I believe, or sorry, is it? Yeah, I think 3:30 UTC for the X spaces. That's going to be right after Cardano, after over coffee. So that's on Tuesdays. Right now, OSC is going to be attending the one on the 31st. The GMC is going to be attending on the 7th. I believe Civics is attending on the 14th. But there are still slots available for other committees on those days. The ask is that if you're available on that day, or the committee agrees to show up to a day, if you can make your time available for the entirety of the 1 hour session, then it'll be a roundtable based on should be a max of 2 committees that are showing up to each one. One session may have 3 because there are 7 committees to split between 3 spaces. It would be a similar format for the virtual hub, but the virtual hub, I believe, is 3 p.m. UTC, and that's on Thursdays. That people would be going into the members area, as was done yesterday for the town hall. But this specific focus would be for the committee elections.
What is, if I may, what is still not clear to me, and I'm trying to understand that. So we are saying that for the 3 designated dates for X spaces, it should happen 3:30 p.m. UTC. So that's, but those time slots are already taken by other committees. Does that mean TSC needs to find some other time slot, like 4 p.m. UTC or 4:30 p.m. UTC, or all of them, or all that pick the same time slot would attend at the same time at the same space? So what does it mean? Do you have that clarification? Thanks.
I can appreciate if I went over that quickly. What I mentioned earlier is that OSC, GMC, and Civics have mentioned or claimed that they would show up during that hour. However, because there are 3 sessions being provided, it's going to split to be about, on average, 2 committees per 1 hour session.
Okay. So that actually means that more committees can occupy the same time slot.
Correct.
Okay, so what we need, if you can provide us with the information about the slots that are available offline, then we can see who can sign up for those.
We can set up the doodle poll, right? Why not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
And
unfortunately, I have a standing commitment myself at 1500 UTC on Thursday, so I can't make the Thursday ones.
It's Tuesday, Thursday. Okay.
I'll
Okay,
still
we'll
look to
see.
verify that, but everything should be in UTC, and I'll get that changed or adjusted on the Luma,
Okay.
because I think that might be throwing people off. So
And to clarify, Tex, when we get the summertime change in Europe, the meetings will still stay fixed in UTC. They won't change. So they will
That is
change.
the goal. That is the goal.
So they will change in European time. They will stay fixed in UTC.
Yes, that's the understanding.
We look forward to the doodle poll.
Yeah, sure. And I think that concludes the list. We are at time almost.
Great. Does anyone have any other items of business they would like to raise? So there's a parameter meeting on Thursday, Alex.
Yes. I don't like to raise something, but I'd like to lower the transaction fee.
Within the guardrails, Alex.
Yes, as well.
Still. Go on.
That will be an interesting discussion. So please come along if you want an interesting technical discussion. It's at 1700 UTC, if I recall correctly, Alex, and you can share the details of that meeting. It's a public meeting.
Also, this Thursday again and again every week, the X space for half an hour for hard fork related stuff. Just a small thing to add. 3:30 p.m. UTC every Thursday for the time being.
Again, if you can publicize that around.
I did already, but I don't know what else to do. It's already in the hard fork working group calendar. I will actually share it again here as well. So for the people here. So this is the calendar where you can see working group meetings and also X spaces in all of these.
Great.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you, Bosco. So thank you everyone for a constructive meeting. Going to be interesting over the next few weeks as we get these, as we get various things together. But thank you for your input, and we'll continue the discussions, particularly on the budget, over the next few days and weeks. Thank you. Catch you again soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.